Well, back to our top story this morning. The Conservatives are back in power in Germany, but the rise of the far right is the strongest measure, perhaps, of where Germany may be heading, particularly going to the next election. Joining us live from Berlin is political commentator Matthew Karnitschnig. Matthew, thanks for your time this evening, your time. So what sort of coalition might have to be formed here?
Well, that is really the question of the evening here. This is a very tight race once you get down below the top two or three parties, and it's really going to depend on whether some of the smaller parties get into the German parliament or not. There's a 5% threshold, and if the Liberal Party in particular doesn't make it in over this 5% mark, then the presumptive new chancellor Friedrich Merz is going to have a very difficult time, because it looks like he's going to have to build a three-party coalition with the center-left Social Democrats and then the Green Party, which would really put him in a bit of a box, because he's more on the conservative side, the center-right side of the political spectrum.
So will the far-right AfD even get a look in here when it comes to this coalition?
Well, I don't think this time around. This is a very controversial issue, as we've heard in the previous report in Germany. Friedrich Merz of the CDU has made clear that he is not going to entertain a coalition with the far right, even though with them he would have a clear majority. Together they would have almost 50% of the votes, but he's sticking to what the Germans call a firewall here, refusing to even discuss the possibility of a coalition. But the math makes it very difficult for him to forge another option here. He was hoping for a two-party coalition, clearly with the Social Democrats, the center-left, and that is looking now like it could be slipping out of his grasp.
So, I mean, just looking at the numbers and comparing to the last election, which no doubt you're aware of, the AfD, it's doubled its vote, 10% in 2021 to now 20%. So that's 1 in 5 voters support the AfD. So is it politically, is it wise to shut them out?
Many people I speak to here say this firewall is going to crumble in the coming years, that this isn't sustainable, because they just keep getting stronger. I think that there was a lot of fear in the political center in Germany before this election that the AfD was going to be even stronger because of these recent terrorist attacks that we've had here, with migrants coming and stabbing people. We just had such an incident on Friday, in fact, and there is a lot of frustration in Germany, as there is across Europe, with the issue of migration, with asylum, all of the resources that is going into dealing with the asylum seekers. And this is obviously a feeding frenzy for the far right, and there is nothing on the horizon that looks like it's going to get any easier for the establishment politicians to deal with this issue. So you have to assume that the AfD is going to continue to strengthen, and it could get to the point where the center right will have no other option but to pull down that firewall and say, okay, we're going to go into a coalition here, which is exactly what we've seen in other countries in Europe and Germany. Because of its history, that is a bit more controversial, to put it mildly.